Another year older and wiser, and another fantastic draft for your Sacramento Kings. So, when does potential become progress? That's the big question. The process to be trusted in Sacktown. We'll break it all down right now. It's your team preview for the Sacramento Kings. With that, we welcome you inside our studios here in Atlanta. It is your team preview for the upcoming season for the Sacramento Kings. Over the next 30 minutes, through 10 points, we'll take you A to Z, get you ready for the Kings season with some help. Smitty and Booze along with me, and how do we not? Duke, after all. Sorry, Smitty. How do we not talk about Bagley, some more Bagley, and some more Bagley? Exciting talent. What do you look for a Kings fan that's watching? What are they about to see from Bagley? What are they getting?
Supreme talent, very good. Left-handed, smooth, can go inside, outside, about 6'10", 6'11", runs the floor effortlessly like a deer, can shoot a little bit on the perimeter, plays above the rim, got a high IQ, obviously being a Dookie. But a lot of talent, man. I'm excited to watch him play in the NBA and see what he can bring to the Sacramento Kings team.
Smitty, we've seen top talents go in the draft, end up on teams that aren't supposed to be good, and it's difficult. What about Bagley tells you that he's got the right mentality, game, a little bit of both, where he can succeed and find a way in this environment?
I think everything Boo said as far as the skill set, and also watching him at Duke, he was obviously the best player, but he could get his points without just having to feed him night in and night out and go to him 4 or 5 times. I think he even needs to be a little bit more aggressive at the NBA level, but he could find points and shots and stats just by going out there playing. Number one thing for him is don't get discouraged. I mean, I think you have a guy like Bagley, he's probably won at every level, high level in high school, AAU, and then in college, obviously. But it's going to be a little struggle in time for him in Sacramento. I just hopefully he doesn't get discouraged.
Yeah, how do you go through that? Because I don't think people understand, you never, when you're a Bagley, you guys are the same way, when you're drafted, you never fail until you get to the point where now you've got to deal with an elite level where everyone is like you were. All of a sudden, you're not man among boys. What's the toughest transition Bagley will face going through that for the first time, Boost?
It is tough. I remember leaving Duke and getting drafted, going to Cleveland. This is the year before LeBron. And that year we won, I don't know, 27 games.
Yeah.
And we got LeBron. So it was great that year. But that year where we lost a lot, like I had lost more in the first month of the season I lost my whole 3 years in college. So to Smitty's point, it's a tough adjustment, you know, because at the end of the day, you're used to winning at every level. For him, look at his progress. You know, the first 10 games will be tough. The next 10 games will be a little better. The next 10 games. So each 10-game segment, he'll improve because he'll get used to the NBA, the travel, the competition level continues to go up and up. And so it'll challenge him to go up and up, not being discouraged. Some of the vets like Zach Randolph, Iman Shumpert can help him with that.
Right.
He a franchise face kind of a guy? You see him as becoming that kind of a player?
I think so, and I think the way the league is going, he is tailor-made for a guy that's a 4-5 that take you inside and out, and obviously gets a little bit more range on his jump shot. Also, the Boo's point, I would say, as a young guy and rookie for me, is 2 things. Time management. You know, practice is over at 1 or 2. You got the entire day left. It's not college where now you're going to have friends, people are going. What can you do in your time management? Second, practice. I mean, at our level,
practice.
You dominated practice.
You're talking about practice?
Yeah, I'm talking about practice because you dominated practice when you're in college, when you're one of the best players. Now you got to understand is it won't be easy against Zach Randolph. He'll be better than Zach Randolph, but being able to go in and every day learn and get better and understand is taking care of your body. Practice is going to be tough when you come from college, and also time management. And it's 82 games along with those practices. He's going to have to really take care of his body.
Or as you say, every time we do a Zebo highlight on Game Time, first name 20.
First name 20, last name 10.
Yeah. We look at some of the youth, and there's a lot of youth. They've had a couple of really good drafts in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox was a guy who you love in college. I see you smiling. You love watching him play. You love watching him in the tournament. That game against Ball, I think everybody talked about before his draft, an example of the kind of swag and attitude he brought to the table. What did you see from him in his first season, Boo?
Yeah, I liked him in his rookie year. He plays with a good speed to him, a good poise to him. There was a couple games where I saw him hit a game winner with great confidence. Another game down the stretch of the game, he made the right play. I think this is definitely a point guard they can build on right there in Sacramento. I like his demeanor. I like his attentiveness to his teammates. And I think he's a guy that could pair with Bagley and some of those other guys is a good foundation to start building around.
And you said it best, Casey. He has that moxie. He's just kind of that winner, the guy you want to go, you turn on the TV to watch him. And then we've had him in studio. He's just one of those guys. He just has that type of infectious, you know, I guess, body language and professionalism. That's another thing I love about him. And he's a sponge. He asks questions. And then when you talk about speed at any level, it's the number one option because you have a guy that fast and also that guy that competes that hard. I think they have a good one at the point guard. With him and Bagley together running pick and roll, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, you got to be excited about Fox moving forward. I think what kind of was underrated about this team last year was the growth of Willie Cauley-Stein.
Right.
We started to see him really not only playing bigger minutes, but offensively on the boards, improved pretty much all across the board last year.
Yeah, he's a talented kid, man. He's one of those guys that you can see his growth every year, especially defensively. Can block shots, can rebound, can really run the court, plays above the rim. They threw a lot of lobs to him. He's a guy that's continued to improve. So they have a really good young core. That front line with him and Bagley, in that point guard position with Fox, you see this guy able to shoot the three. He's very talented, so you want to continue to nurture that, let that grow, let that blossom.
Go ahead, Smitty.
A guy that I'm looking really forward to, been hurt his career, but I think it's a gem in Harry Giles.
Yes.
Yes.
Harry Giles in high school, I got a chance to watch.
Yes,
well, he should.
It's like the Duke show.
I mean, but in high school, it was unbelievable. And I just hated for him, that young fella, because he was hurt at Duke. He has the skill set and the size. Remind me a little bit of a Chris Webber when he was in high school. If he can get healthy, Booz, I think you're talking about a frontline guy that can really help the Sacramento Kings.
There's a lot of Duke and a lot of Kentucky. They certainly have a lot of conversation during the course of the year because you think about Labissiere, among others. How about Buddy Hield?
Yeah.
Who we don't think about as a younger player. It's not like he's old. I mean, really,
Right.
He's moved. We've seen him in a couple of different places. What have you seen from him in his career so far through the first couple of years of his NBA career?
Yeah, well, obviously in college he was a flat-out scorer, but he's still a guy that can stretch that floor for you. He can shoot the three. We're going to see him with the Sacramento team playing off some of them young guys. He'll be able to help them get more space because you got to guard him. You can't leave him wide open because he's a kid that can get 30 points, 35 points. So for him, I just want to see him continue to grow, be more consistent, and also get a chance to do a little bit more. Maybe he can pull up the ball off the dribble a little bit, create some havoc for him, make some plays. But he's definitely a guy that can shoot the ball.
When we look at the way Dave Joerger has handled it in the past, last year, when they had George Hill, they've tried to play a lot of veterans a lot of time. We saw a lot of vets. There were a lot of games where we're sitting there looking, and there's Zebo down the stretch, right?
Vince Carter
down the stretch, getting big minutes. How much do you need to kind of just hand the reins to these kids this year? How does Dave do the best he can with this group this season?
I thought he did a nice job in having those veterans, like you said, George Hill for the guards and the wing guys is Vince Carter, and for the bigs is Zach Randolph. But Casey, you're totally right. This year, you got to hand the keys over to these young guys. They're going to have to take their lumps and bumps, and I think it's time for them. And I still think they have a long way to go, but right now, I love Zebo. That's my guy, but I think you got to go with these young guys and let them get their feet wet. They're going to go through it, but it's time for them to have the keys.
Yeah, I mean, Booz, you mentioned earlier, and you're right, De'Aaron Fox had a couple of real great moments down the stretch of games, but we didn't get to see these guys on the floor a lot together. Right. How much did you learn as a young player during those mistakes you made in fourth quarters of games? How much does this group need to do that this year?
Yeah, that was a big growth process for me. I got thrown in the fire right away when I went to Cleveland. You know, started at power forward. I did have a great vet in Tyrone Hill who taught me the ropes a little bit. But learning against Kevin Garnett, we talked about off camera, failing against Karl Malone, failing against some of these OG vets that taught me the ropes, Chris Webber, helped me propel to my successes later in my career. So that's where these Sacramento Kings are going to be at. They need to fail a little bit against the San Antonios and against the Golden State Warriors and against the Houston Rockets so they can figure out how to succeed. Because winning in the NBA as a youngster is very hard to do. But the sooner you learn how to get through some of those failures, you can start winning.
I'm listening to you guys talk about Cauley-Stein, Bagley, Fox. Fair to say the pace should be a pretty quick one with this offense. Is that the kind of game you want to play?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for young guys, it's hard for them to all get on the same page defensively. You know, a lot of young guys, it just takes a while, that end defensively. So I think it's better for them to run. I don't know if they're a half-court team. I don't know if they have somebody who can stabilize them from a standpoint as a go-to guy. So I think they're a better fit, especially Willie Cauley-Stein, the way he runs, and Bagley and Fox. they got to use that speed and that youth and those young legs.
All right, the question is, what is the best way to use Bagley? We're going to break that down a little bit and get to more of the depth chart. We talked about some of those vets. They've got some on this team, but they've also got some youth and some talent. The Kings, potential aplenty.
Beautiful to stop. Bobby Sear fires and hits. By Paulie Stein. Oh, what a pass by De'Aaron Fox. It's in and out, and it's put back in. De'Aaron Fox. Scout for the win! Oh, boy!
We continue with our team preview of the Kings, looking at the depth chart. And we talked about a lot of their different players. Didn't get to Justin Jackson, who got to see it in Summer League. The shot is there, but maybe more the confidence level than what we saw last year from him, Smith.
Yeah, and I think for him is, like you said, shooting-wise and skill set is there. I just think his body wasn't ready for the NBA 82 games. But this summer, he looked good. I'm interested in seeing Ben McLemore. This is his second stint with Sacramento. Loved him coming out of college. Buddy Hield, those are kind of the guys I think this is very important for those guys to take the next step, Booze.
Yeah, get a chance to establish themselves. They're going to get plenty of playing time, plenty of minutes. Hopefully they've worked on their game a little over the summertime and get a chance to establish themselves in this league.
Hey, you got to love Frank Mason.
Tough.
Where they said that, man, they said he was too small. The college player of the year for a reason.
Yogi Ferrell, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, they're going to have some nice. I would love to see their training camp at that point guard position. There's going to be some tough.
Battling it out.
Won't be as tough as it will be for Gilgeous Alexander, who's got Patrick Beverly in practice. It'll be difficult, yeah.
Yes.
Go get him, kid. Speaking of kids, Bagley, obviously, we talk about how highly he was picked and where we look at him in terms of the future. But where do we look at him on the floor, Smitty?
You know, I think for me, Booze, and you've seen him a lot much more because he's a dookie, but I don't see him, right starting off as, I don't know if he's just a back-to-the-basket guy that can bang guys. He's kind of sliding built. And I also don't see him at the three-point line. I think he has a nice shot. He has nice form, Booze, but I don't see his range right there. I kind of see him at the Chris Bosh. So say this is perfect right here. Going against Booze, he's not going to overpower Booze out there. Then I don't want to see him just isolating. Right. So I would love to have him catching the basketball right here in the isolation where he can shoot it if Booze is off. And if Booze gets a little bit close, now he can use his rip-through and this one dribble to the bucket. That's the kind of where I think you should see him playing basketball. And then the other spot for me is in transition. Just run. Use your athleticism, get some easy buckets and tip-ins.
And the other thing for him is he's a great pick-and-roll player. He can pick lobs at the rim and also defensively. Because you could switch him out on 2s, 3s, 4s, let him use his size and his length to block shots, rebound, like you said, get to the guard, Fox, and just run.
Going to get a lot of attention, though, offensively on this team, right? If you're sitting there on the other side on defense, that's going to be the guy you want to limit. Cauley Stein, we talk about, going to get his baskets on the run in transition. If Fox, you don't want to let beat you off the dribble, but it's going to be Bagley you focus on.
You is, and I think if I'm in coaching staff, I'm trying to deny him and rough him up. And I would ask Booze, as a young guy coming up, what would you say for a guy, you didn't have this problem, you were physically there. What should he do if veterans is trying to get into him and grabbing him and pushing him? What would you advise him to do?
You got to go through that. That's part of like the hazing in the NBA. People are gonna be physical with you. See how much you spend time in the weight room. See how much mentally tough you are, because it's a physical pounding you're gonna take. But how strong are you up here so you can overcome that? Use your speed, use your quickness when you get the ball. Like you said, Smitty, use your quick rips because he's very quick. He's very athletic. One dribble and he's at the rim already. So for him, take some of that pounding, get in the weight room, of course, but use your speed, use your quickness, use your agility.
Who was the guy that did that to you? Either of you remember?
I got beat up every day in practice.
Carl Malone for me.
Every day. The two-guard position was a little ugly back then. Everybody. Clyde, they were big two guards. Joe, Michael.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Okay. Well, you pushed around some people too, Smitty.
You got to,
I thought Bagley was going to give the Smitty in our demo. Having Zebo there, having a guy, when you talk about toughness, I'm listening to you, Booze, and I'm thinking, man, that's got to help, right?
Yeah, it don't get too much tougher than Zach. And the great thing about him is he played against some tough guys in his career. He can give Bagley what it takes, the keys to the blueprint on how to be successful, especially because Bagley's so much more athletic than Zach was. So his touch, getting in the gym, working around the rim, getting his jumper down. Zach was a guy that was 17, 18 feet, very consistent. If Bagley can get his jump shot very consistent from around that same range, knock down a good clip from the three-point line as well, it makes him even more dangerous.
What better guy, if you're athletic, to learn from a guy who's jumping like that. He can score the basketball at 20 and 10 because he plays through angles.
Right.
Zach was never going to overpower, I would say, Carlos Boozer, but he's going to take angles. Yep. He's going to pump fake. He's going to drive it hard. And one great thing about Zach, understood when they were in the bonus. Right. That's when he's going real hard and be physical. Just teaching him the game and all the little nuances can help him.
When you guys get into college, your first year, I would assume you look at sophomores and juniors and they kind of show you the ropes.
Yeah.
Does it help Bagley to have Fox there, to have a high pick that was just a year before, that just went through first road trip, first time having a mistake, first time after a tough loss, all those sorts of things?
Well, I always tell big guys when they first came in the league is that the point guard, you better go be his friend.
Right.
Make sure you be Fox's friend.
Right.
Make sure, and if when I started off as a point guard, I went right to Ronnie Cycli, making sure where he wanted the basketball, because he got the rebound. I wanted the outlet. I wanted to have that chemistry along with Glenn Rice. If you're a point guard, you go find the scores. If you're big, you go find that point guard and be his friend.
Yep.
Make sure to befriend the point guard.
Yeah, you taking to eat, you taking to dinner, go to that Carl's Jr. or whatever it is you want to go eat at around the corner. Get some food.
You got to eat
together.
better than that, Booze.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, who's the point guard in this set?
You.
Right, just remember that.
You the point guard?
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Okay.
Not
Waffle House for you.
Waffle House. Not going to Carl's Jr. We got more coming up on the team preview for the Sacramento Kings. The offseason, good company. Good guy to hang with. Kobe and De'Aaron Fox, social, and the starters.
Do you put your hands down? Close them in a fist? Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed, so drop your left hand, keep your right hand out. Can you hold out your hand in mine?
Right about it. You always gotta do something crazy with me, man.
Stay still, right?
That's what I'm saying, Joe. It's gonna be a tattoo next thing you know.
It is a tattoo. That's permanent ink. You guys have a connection. So anything he feels, you feel.
Before we do this, man, do that man have an X? Do an X on my hand, I'm gonna put it.
Turn your hands.
No, this...
He just got now.
Oh,
he just got.
Oh, man. Hey, Willie, man.
Show everybody.
Willie, if this your old girl, man. I wouldn't do this.
Big King of Hearts?
Get out of here.
How did that?
Sleight of hand, bro.
That one. You're happy with that one? Go ahead and sign your name on it. So that was like the easiest way for me to get an autograph.
Oh my God, stop it.
This is where it's gonna get kind of weird. Just go with it, okay? We're gonna fold it,
Okay.
and I need you to bite on it.
Yeah, I don't bite now.
Perfect.
Hard?
Yeah, just keep it in your mouth. Perfect. Bite. Perfect. All right, just stay like that. Is that weird? All right, perfect. I'm gonna sign my name. And a D, and actually I'll put a little heart symbol. Just like that. Do the same thing. Fold it up.
Oh my God. Whoa. What?
What's in there?
Oh my God. No way. So,
What is that?
wow! Oh my gosh.
What would be impossible is if it was 12 down in the deck that you're holding.
It's not.
Go ahead, deal the cards face up into my hand. Let's count again. Ready? 1. 11. Stop. That's the 12th card. Check it out.
Well, from tricks to showing off tricks with the dancing moves, okay. Marvin Bagley, well, he can play basketball well. Two guys who know how to dance.
They don't dance well at Duke.
Two guys who know how to dance a little bit, the starters.
Trey Kirby and Tass Mellis of the starters here for your next point on the Sacramento Kings. True or false, Trey? The Kings' young core will break out this season.
True.
Huh.
because I think the young core is pretty much the whole team on the Kings. They can easily have a starting lineup where no player has been in the league for more than 3 seasons.
So they're going to the playoffs or what?
Well, I don't know about that, but if the whole team is the young core, you just got to win a few more games to have a breakout season. The key is that Dave Joerger has to let these guys fly. They were very low in the league in pace last year, but you've got a point guard in De'Aaron Fox, who's one of the quickest guys in the league. You got shooters in Buddy Hield, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and draft pick Marvin Bagley. Seems like he's going to be a guy who's productive playing in an up-tempo system. Zach Randolph can't lead this team in scoring because it means, A, Zach Randolph is getting a lot of touches, and B, you're playing at Zach Randolph's pace. If he leads the team in scoring this season, the answer will be false, but I'm betting on true.
I don't blame Dave Joerger for playing Zach Randolph a lot of minutes because his team didn't break out. His young guys just didn't play well enough. I think if you get one of these guys to play well and to have a great season, you know, those guys you mentioned, whether it's De'Aaron Fox or Willie Cauley-Stein, I think that's great. That's fantastic. I think you're hoping more for an adult pimple rather than like a teenage breakout. Just one pimple is fine. I mean, when you drafted all these guys up and down the roster, you don't expect all of them to break out, but I don't expect all of them to just be thrust into the lineup, into the spotlight, because they're not great. And I understand where Dave Joerger was last year with Zach Randolph and Kosta Koufos and Iman Shumpert playing a lot of minutes. But I think the guy that you have to look at is De'Aaron Fox. Now with George Hill gone from this team, he can be a star in this league. I do have faith in him amongst all of those guys. And if Buddy Hield can be the Stephen Curry, that Vivek Ranadive, half of Steph Curry, then I guess he's breaking out too.
They've got some solid players. Hopefully they put it together and play to their players' strengths. I think a system built around playing fast would work out well for the Kings.
All right, that is it for us. More on the Kings coming up. And if you want more of the starters, check us out weeknights throughout the entire season here on NBA TV.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Potential, yes. Performance, we'll discuss. We're breaking down whether or not they get more or less than you might expect. Why you gotta kick them when they're down? Well, 15 back-to-backs. Let's play a bunch of playoff teams. They're gonna get tested, these young Kings. Also, they're gonna get national TV time on TNT on the 29th of November against the Clippers. So, question now becomes, how many wins do they get? Are more or less, gentlemen, for this one, 25.5 wins, Smitty?
You know, I'm going under, Casey. I will say, though, I'm looking at Fox and some of those younger guys. They will develop and they will get better. But the win total, I'm saying they're going under 25.
Under 25, too. Lakers are better. Dallas is better. Suns are better. Under 25, but like Smitty said, the young core will get a little better.
Tough, obviously, for a guy like Bagley who just played all those years at Duke. Right. As you said, you won 28 your first year.
He might get all his losses in the first 2 months. Most he's ever had.
Very true.
You can follow all of the coverage of the
magic
Sacramento Kings right here all season long.
Make the teams disappear.
On NBA TV. He's magic, isn't he? We'll see you next time.